Belle Meade's history dates back to the early 19th century when John Harding, a successful entrepreneur, purchased a log cabin and 250 acres of land in 1807.
John sets up this blacksmith shop out here on Natchez Trace, which was an old buffalo trace, because this was where the Creek, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, these indigenous tribes used to hunt in this area here. It's a well-worn path by these bison. Everybody used it to travel on. I mean, it's literally like having a gas station today to have a blacksmith shop on the Natchez Trace.
This bustling plantation grew to 5,400 acres and included a burgeoning stud farm, a cotton gin, and a grist mill, as well as a dairy farm that churned out a remarkable 240 pounds of butter a week. The Belle Meade Mansion, a magnificent example of Greek Revival architecture, was completed in 1853 after several expansions and renovations by the Harding-Jackson family. Its grand columns and stately facade stood as a testament to the opulence and sophistication of the antebellum South.
Americans were just enamored with everything classical, which was Greek and Roman. And so they began to emulate and copy their styles. And eventually, Nashville was known as the Athens of the South, because after the American Civil War, this city had more higher educational institutions for Americans of African descent, as well as for women, than any other city in the South.
Beneath the splendor of the mansion lies a more complex narrative of the people who contributed to Belle Meade's legacy. As many as 136 enslaved African Americans played a significant role in shaping the plantation's prosperity, working diligently in the fields and horse stables to support the estate's flourishing businesses.
This family did accrue their wealth and their fame through the choices they made, but oftentimes utilized in the labor of those who didn't have a choice. Of course, with it being a stud farm, there's going to be a lot of the enslaved workers working in the thoroughbred industry. A trainer, a jockey, a groomsman, hostlers who are managing the care of the horses. There's plenty of accounts of some of the enslaved jockeys being between the ages of 8 and 16 years old. As far as the thoroughbred industry itself, it's predominantly African American until the 20th century. The first Kentucky Derby in 1875, 13 out of the 15 riders were African American, and some of them were formerly enslaved. So it's a predominantly African American sport until the 20th century.
The Civil War brought challenging times to Belle Meade, as Union troops occupied the area as early as February of 1862. Yet after the war, the family's determination fueled the estate's revival. Belle Meade became a cultural and artistic center that attracted social elites from across the nation to its lavish banquets and fashionable soirees that became synonymous with Southern hospitality and charm.
The thing that brought these illustrious guests to Belle Meade, these wealthy turfmen, is because horse racing was the national sport, and this family was breeding and training the celebrities of the day. By the 1880s, the Cincinnati Enquirer is writing about this being the finest stud farm in America. Tennessee was the epicenter of breeding, training, and racing thoroughbreds.
So Chef, this horse, Maxie, is a thoroughbred. And Maxie is in the bloodline of Bonnie Scotland, who was a sire at the Belle Meade stud farm back in the 1870s. Now, Bonnie Scotland's bloodline brings in horses you've heard of, like Seabiscuit, Secretariat, Seattle Slew. Do you know that we've got 13 Triple Crown winners in the United States, and 11 of them draw their bloodline to Bonnie Scotland, just like Maxie. All thoroughbreds have documentation that their bloodline, like Maxie here, goes back to one of 3 Arabian stallions that were bred with the English racehorses back in the 1600s. But you know what the racing was at that time?
What?
It was jousting matches. So these horses that they were racing in the jousting matches were old war horses. They had strength, they had stamina, but the Arabian stallions ran as fast as the wind. So when they crossbred them, they got the perfect athlete. They got the speed, they got the stamina, and they got the strength, and that's what thoroughbreds are.
Well, what a beautiful animal, huh?
Yeah, Maxie's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, you're enjoying this, huh? It's not even my cooking, but you like it.
As the years passed, Belle Meade witnessed changes and adaptations, mirroring the evolution of Nashville itself. The 20th century saw the estate's transition from a working farm to a beloved historic landmark. In 1953, the Belle Meade Mansion was officially opened to the public, allowing visitors to step back in time and experience the allure of a bygone era.